You hit on Josh Allen. I was able to meet Josh right before you guys drafted him, and just having the opportunity to spend a night with him and talk to him, my hope was that he was going to end up in Buffalo, because you could tell he embodied the city of Buffalo and he represents them so well. And the thing I love about him, not just the kind of person he is, but he understands that and has taken that responsibility and lives that every single day. How cool was that? To see him win the NFL MVP this year. And I saw some of your quotes, but the funny stuff of being overrated, and just talk about the man that Josh is before the player and how much he means to this organization.
Yeah, I mean, that's literally, Fitz, if you go back to my opening press conference, there was a lot of push for, the other Josh or, some other players. Josh was a very polarizing figure in that draft.
Well, so is Josh Rosen.
Yeah, I know. But when I went down to my press conference, you go back and watch it in your free time. They were all over me about why did I take Josh Allen? Yeah. Why wouldn't I choose Josh Rosen? Yada, yada, yada. And I kept telling them, guys, I'm going to get into the player. He's physically gifted. He can do everything in our weather. He's got size. People are forgetting what an athlete this guy is beyond where you think his accuracy is or the deficiencies that you see in his game. Is this guy, I promise you, when you meet him, you're going to realize what I'm talking about. This guy is Buffalo. No one I met is more Buffalo than Josh Allen. And just go watch him play in Wyoming, the same type of conditions. But even as a person, blue collar, grew up on a farm. I learned it real quick. He told me in an interview, I was like, what else did you do? He's like, my dad told me if I wasn't playing a sport, I was helping on a farm. He goes, so I played every sport I could, because he knew the rest of the time, he was going to be doing blue collar stuff. But Josh is very appreciative of where he came from. He still recognizes people, whether it was high school teammates that he's introduced me to, high school coaches, junior college coaches, every step of the way. I mean, this guy had to email his way to a Division I offer at Wyoming. No one, was giving this guy a chance. And that is Buffalo. No one gives Buffalo a chance. This is a blue collar town. Everything's earned, city of good neighbors. And that's who Josh is. He's way beyond the talent. He fits this city. He fits this culture. He cares about people. He treats people nicely. He's very involved. It's one thing to, when you have his checkbook, you can write checks. That's not, Josh does that. But Josh is going to places. He's spending time in the children's hospital, not just there, other places. And that's what, shows his true character. He's passionate about it. He's not, like I said, I think it's easy for people to write a check. I think it shows their true character when they take the time to go visit these places that need to see a guy like Josh Allen to lift them up.
I love meeting him, but it was the moment. I've told Whit this multiple times. Lee Smith calls me, and only the way that Lee Smith could say it, he said, Fitz, this kid's going to be great. He reminds me exactly of you, but he's talented. And I was like, oh, man, that's a good combination. Favorite line. I can't wait to see that.
There, buddy.
Yeah, I want to talk about, though, your relationship with Josh. I know you guys are super close. He just got the extension. Does that get difficult? You as I just even look at it as like a father-son relationship, and there are certain things, I want to be best friends with my boys, but there's a line where, like, I am your father and you are my son. Is there the relationship, you and Josh, you being that close, is there a line that you have to draw, or with your players, those dynamic, great players that you have, do you always try to keep a separation of I'm a GM and you're a player? I
honestly, I make it very difficult on myself with all players, because I really try to get to know them, their families, and I don't try to do I'm the GM, and because there are people that do that, and I understand why, because when you have to deliver bad news, whether it's we're not going to extend you or we got to move on from you, it becomes easier. And I know people that do that and swear by it. It's just not my nature. My nature is to get to know you. I do care about your wife, your spouse, your kids. I want to know what I talk to these guys. Most of the time that I talk to the players is after practices or on road trips. I'm not calling them up to my office. It's more just when it's very casual. But with Josh, I would say we do, we hit it off well on the golf course. I laugh at his stupid ass jokes. Like I'm I'm a 12-year-old too.
Has he ever stolen your watch? Has he taken your watch before off your wrist?
He broke my strap on one of my watches. He thought he was being slick, but he's good at it. But I'm aware of all his shenanigans. It's so bad with him. Sometimes I'm scared to answer a question because I'm like, is this a setup? And he's like, no, dude, I'm not doing that. But, at the end of the day, I give Josh this. He does respect that there has to be sometimes where business gets in, where we have to do it. But just like this situation of his new contract, Josh and I spoke a little bit last year about where numbers were going around the league. And he busts my chops sometimes shooting me a text of this quarterback or that quarterback getting another deal and dropping him down the line. And I told him, I said, hey, listen, I hear you. You're right. Let's play this year and then we'll talk. So whether he got MVP or not, we had a plan to talk to him. So as soon as the season ended, it sucks. It abruptly ends. There's, unless you're holding the trophy up, it's kicking the balls. And so we waited a few days and then he came by and sat and we just talked. And I said, listen, I'm assuming you'd like for us to do something. He was smiling, like, of course, yeah. And so I said, listen, tell his agent's Patrick Collins, who does a great job. But I said, I'll reach out to Patrick and we'll talk some parameters. I'll hear some things that are important to you and to him. And we'll lay out some things that I've already talked to Mr. Pagula about that are important from the club side. Obviously, we want to be able to sign players, so we need to be able to do some things from a cap standpoint. But great dialogue. And then we kind of step aside. He does his thing. I work with his agent. I called him one time during it and just said, listen, these are a couple of things that I'm still, and he wants to be involved. The sense of if I'm frustrated, and I know he's talking to his agent, but if we have that dialogue, hey, I'm struggling to get any further unless we can do this or that. And so I love that about him because he does want to win. Yes, he wants to be respected with where he stacks up and things like that. But ultimately, he doesn't want to do anything that's harmful to the Buffalo Bills winning. And how can you not respect that?